2, 1. Kitman Moy, we're live. Welcome back to the channel, to the podcast. Today I got my boy Kitman Moy. If you guys haven't already been following him on Instagram, he's an Instagram sensation. How many followers do you have?
250.
250. And how long have you had your account? Like 2 days? 1 day?
10 months.
10 months. I'll put your Instagram down below so you guys can go check him out because he posts pictures of the Kitman life, and every once in a while he'll post a picture with his G friend Martha. Shout out to Martha, because at some point Moy's gonna give her a shout out anyway, so might as well give it to her right now. So what's the plan for today, Moy? What do you got to do?
Today?
Yeah.
Gonna go back to the office, do some work in the office, and then head over to the player apartments to finish counting all the inventory of the kitchenware and furniture we have, so we can separate it between the apartments evenly.
So if you guys don't know, Kitman Moy is a kitman, but the official title is equipment manager, right?
Yeah.
So Moy is in charge of all the apparel, all the equipment, basically anything that we'll need for the first team, for the pro team. So I'll let you do a little bit of a better job explaining that. Exactly what is a kitman, Moy, and what do you do? Like, what does your job consist of?
It consists a lot about talking with the team, the players, coaching staff, getting what they need on a day-to-day basis, talking anywhere from socks, shorts, shirts. If for training we need some cones, helping setting up a field, I do that.
So it is your responsibility to bring all the equipment, all the training equipment to training. Am I wrong in saying that?
Have I never not done that?
Well, because there was one time where we got there and there wasn't any cones. And then you looked at me and Brett, the goalkeeper coach, and you said, "Did you guys bring the cones?"
No, I said the water.
No, it was the cones. And I was like, "No, I didn't bring. Why would I bring the cones?" And you're like, "Because I asked you to bring the cones and you never asked me because you forgot the cones and you needed someone to blame."
If it was the cones,
now it's coming back to you.
If it was the cones or the water, whatever it was, I asked you guys.
Negative.
My hands are full. Can you guys grab one set? I asked for one.
Negative. Because see, it would make sense if like I forgot and Brett brought the cones, because then that means that he was paying attention when you were telling us. But neither of us brought them, which means neither of us heard you ask us to bring the cones. Neither of you
pay attention to
me. Anyway, that's another story for another day. So Moy, you're in charge of like all the, especially when we go to training, that's the biggest piece, is making sure we have all the training equipment there, but more importantly also the training gear. So the players, their warm-ups, their shorts, their shirts, their socks. You don't do too much with the boots yet, right? They take care of their own.
Not yet.
Cleats.
Unless we travel somewhere, then I have a bag where the players put all their boots. That way they don't have to carry them in their bag. And then when we get to the hotel, wherever we play, I just bring them out, set them out for the players to come and pick up.
Yeah. So Moy is probably the, I wouldn't say hardest working person in the club.
Oh, wow.
But for sure, the longest. Like, you put in the most hours out of anybody else. No, I'm not saying that you don't work hard, because I think you work hard. I think you work very hard, Moy. I'm just saying that you work the longest hours out of anyone at the club.
Oh,
what does your typical day look like? From start to finish? Let's say it's just a regular training day. We'll get into like the game days later, but what about a regular training day?
Regular training day, I get there about 7:30, before 8 o'clock, and I start looking at the locker room, seeing what we need, bringing out all the player stuff. Usually I have them on their loops, so I have to bring out the laundry loop and hang it up on their locker, and then look at the equipment, see if we need the balls pumped or not. Then I get breakfast with the team, and by 10 o'clock, I'm out the door, heading over to the field to take all the equipment, and then we train. After training, come back, relax a little, get food, and then that's when I start doing the laundry. And usually that takes a couple hours just because I only have 2 machines and I have to separate it.
And then, what time do you get in? Like,
what time will I leave?
What time do you get into the office? Like 8:30ish?
No, like 7:30 or 8.
7:30 or 8. Mm-hmm. And then what time are you out?
around 6.
Yeah. So it's a long day.
Yeah.
It's a long day because you have to do all the stuff that comes before and after training, but you also have to be at training
Mm-hmm.
in order to make sure that we have all the stuff. Most of the players obviously show up around 9 o'clock. They get there just for their breakfast. Then they go to training. They come back for lunch. And then after lunch, they're pretty much free to go unless they have, rehab or some meetings or something like that. But you're the one that has to be there before everybody shows up to make sure everybody's got their gear.
Yeah.
And coaching staff included as well. Because like when I go into the office, Moy will have my clothes, my coaching apparel on my desk. Unless I didn't give it to him the day before, unless I forget to give it to you the day before, it should be on my desk in the mornings when I get in. So much appreciated, Moy, because it does always usually smell pretty clean. It's pretty nice, except a few times that it has been wrinkled, which
I don't know.
You pretend like you don't know how that happens, but you should be an expert at this point. You know exactly how that happens.
Funny that it's only your clothes.
So, how many hours would you say that you work a week?
A week? That's tough. It's usually anywhere between 40 to 50 a week. Some weeks are longer, especially if we're traveling somewhere. It's like a whole day process. I mean, I do my regular training session with the team, and then I come back and I have to start prepping. So, getting the jerseys, shorts, pregame tops, everything packed. Having an extra bag with all the extras, just to be prepared for the away game.
So would you say that you have like a very, very strict routine when it comes to...
I think I am. I think I do have a strict routine. Like I've had people try to help me, and it just stresses me out because I do it a certain way.
Right.
And when they're doing it, even though they're helping me out, it's like stressing me because they're doing it a different way. So it
throws you off your routine. So we talked about the training routine or the training day procedures. What about a home game? What does that look like? What's the difference?
Home game is a lot longer because I show up at the office maybe 10 or 11.
And this is when we play around like 7:30, right?
7:30, yeah. If we have a 7:30 game, I show up to the office at 10 or 11. And at that point, I am getting all the gear. Like I try to pack the day before, but then I sometimes have to come in and get all the extra gear that I didn't finish packing, finish washing the laundry for the guys because I know some of them like to wear the sliders or a certain pair of socks for games, and they might have used them for the training day before, so I have to wash everything, fix the locker room, make sure we have enough towels for the home and away team. Then I head over to the stadium and I clean up the locker room, clean up the away locker room, set it up for them, set ours up, hang up all the jerseys, and then I sometimes help the crew at the stadium, but not much sometimes. Yeah.
But for the most part, you like to get there early enough so that you still have like an hour or an hour and a half of just like hanging out and being at the stadium, especially when it's warm out on like in summer. It's really nice because everybody's setting up for the stadium. And because I get there about, what do we get there? About an hour and a half before kickoff, I would say. An hour and a half before kickoff, sometimes 2 hours. But you're usually already done by that time.
Yeah, I try to be completely done maybe 30 minutes before the team even shows up. And usually I'm done like an hour or two before the team shows up, but yeah, just try to make sure everything's all set and I can like relax a little, hang out, just so I'm not like too stressed.
Right. And it gives you enough time just in case you forgot something.
Yeah.
You can run back to the field house, which is only about 15 minutes away, and grab it or whatever. When you set up the locker room, do you have a set, like do players have a certain spot that they want to sit in, or do you just kind of do them by numerical order, or how do you set up the jerseys and stuff?
Usually the guys that have been there longer, I kind of set them up closer to the door, but also like they kind of have their like not assigned seat, but that's where they want to be. They've told me they feel comfortable. I place them next to someone that they're like really close to, someone they're comfortable with. That way everybody's like getting along.
Yeah. because they spend quite a bit of time in the locker room before the game starts.
Yeah.
Putting on their training, their warm ups or their pregame tops or whatever, putting on their socks, their boots. So they like to be next to someone that
Yeah.
they've known for a while or they're comfortable
Mhm.
chatting with. And then do you just put the new guys together pretty much, like
Yeah.
all the guys that haven't been there for very long?
Yeah. And then once they start getting to know people, I kind of put them into the mix them
Right.
around. Yeah.
You work very closely with the team, so you know who's friends with who and who
Yeah.
would like to sit next to who. So that's the routine for the game day. So well, after the game,
hmm
so you get there. The game starts at 7:30. The game's done by 9:30 ish,
Yeah.
right? What time are you out of the
Out of the stadium.
stadium?
Usually at like 11 or a little bit later. I wait until right after the game. We'll stay on the field, shake the Northern Guards their hands. Then they go into the locker room. Coach talks to them. Then I give them a minute for them to like eat, shower, and that's when they start like making the piles of all the jerseys and stuff. So I give them time. Once everybody's gone, that's when I come in and I start picking up the different piles, putting them in my bags, so I know what I have to wash the next day. And by the time I pick up everything that I brought over to the stadium, it's close to like 11 o'clock.
Yeah, and then so then after that you just head on to the field house or do you go home?
I go to the field house, I drop everything off, and then I go home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you do the laundry the next day.
Yeah, the next day.
Otherwise, you'd be there till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. So what about away days, away games? Because that's different. Because
Yeah.
we can only take a certain amount of equipment, a certain
Mhm.
amount of bags because of the luggage. Because most of the games now we're going to be flying.
Yeah.
Last year, most of the games we ended up flying to. How does the game day on away days, or not the game day, but the travel? How does that affect how you pack everything?
It's a little bit more stressful because if we're flying, I don't have the freedom of packing the bags completely full, adding extra stuff.
Right.
Because there's always a weight limit, and only having 3 bags it's difficult. In one bag, I usually pack all the player like what they're gonna wear at the stadium. So I have like individual bags that I put their shorts, socks, jerseys, pregame tops, and I pack it all. The second bag, it's like a bunch of extra stuff that we might need. And then I try to throw things in there like water bottles, cones. Last year when we went to Cali, I took a couple deflated soccer balls so we can train once we got there. And the third bag is all the bathroom stuff for the players, their cleats, and any extra stuff that they want to throw in.
Yeah. Their toiletry stuff.
Yeah.
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 There's a funny story about one trip. I can't remember what trip it was, but when we came back, some of the stuff was still wet, right?
Yeah.
Or was it? And it adds to the weight limit
Yeah,
when the stuff is wet. So we were at the trying to put the bags on the scale, and they were like a little bit over, right? So you had to flip flop between two bags and
3
put
bags. I think one of them was like 10 pounds over. The other one was 7. The next one was like 6 or something like that. So it was just very difficult because they were all over. And then some players ended up taking their cleats, which helped.
Yeah. And then the away days, what's probably the best part about the away days?
It's I mean, the games are a little bit less stressful for me because there's not like I don't have to show up super early and clean up everything. Usually I show up to the locker room, set it up, and then the team comes in. I try to get there a little bit early, but for most of the games, the stadium was so far away that I just had to show up at the same time as the team and tell them to give me like 10 minutes. Then afterwards, I clean up everything, and I think the best part is like the next day when we get to like relax in that city.
Right, and go explore a little
Yeah.
bit. Is it hard to work with the other team sometimes when you have to ask them about like the locker room and how many towels you're gonna get and stuff like that, or most of the people there on away teams pretty?
I did struggle a couple times last year with the teams. Some of them didn't have like the best communication. So like I would message them and ask like what's gonna be provided for us,
Right.
so I know what I have to bring. And I mean, we had teams that we played against that like everything we needed, it was there. When we flew, they had cones, balls, everything. So like we didn't have to carry any of that, which makes it easier. And then other teams, they would be like, oh, we can't give you this or that, and having to pack 30 towels is complicated because it takes so much space and so much weight. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're with the team 24/7, so you're with us everywhere we go. So you build some pretty good relationships with the players.
Yeah.
How would you say that your relationships are with the players, and what is your like role in the team as far as like personality wise?
I mean, yeah, I'm with the team all the time, all the players I try to talk to different players all the time, like not just hang out with the same guys. But yeah, I've made some great connections, some great friends. When we travel, it's kind of like hanging out with friends. It's not just, all right, they're the players,
right.
I'm staff. I mean, sometimes it has to be that way, where I have to be professional and not be with them, but that's fine. I don't know. I know there's times where I do have to be professional and we have to like step aside, let them be them, and we're the staff.
Right.
But for the most part, like I'm in the players' lounge joking around with them. I'm messing around with them. It's kind of like I'm one of them sometimes.
Yeah, I think you do a good job of that because I know naturally your personality is you like to joke around and always laughing and always smiling and stuff. And sometimes like the coaching staff is a little bit more serious because we're focusing on the training session or thinking about the game. So naturally we're just a little bit more, I'd say the right word would be like pensive. Like we're always kind of thinking about, the training session of the game, but you're always there to kind of lighten up the mood a little bit, especially in training.
Yeah.
Cracking jokes with the players and stuff like that. So I know the players appreciate you for that. Sometimes you do get in trouble with me a little bit. Sometimes you get in trouble with me a little bit because I have to tell you to stop messing around and take it seriously. Because that's the thing. There's certain parts, there's certain times where you have to get away from, messing around and joking around and get ready for the game and start mentally preparing. And the players, especially the players, because I was I played for the team, and I know that like there's certain routines and certain behaviors from the players that, for example, some guys, the whole day of the game, they don't like to leave their apartment.
Yeah.
Or they just want to be by themselves and they want to be focused for the game and they want to be ready. So I know sometimes certain players want to be left alone and certain players are more, certain players want to go play FIFA and just hang out in the players' lounge and just chill and relax and stuff like that. But I always like to err on the side of caution and just kind of be a little bit more serious, a little bit more focused, especially when we're actually en route to the game or when the training session has started and stuff like that. But I think you do a good job of balancing that out because oftentimes, the coaching staff can be a little bit more serious. And then you're kind of that like middleman, making sure that, the mood is a little bit more light and everybody's having a good time and everybody's laughing and joking around and stuff like that. Yeah. And I joke around a lot too, right? You'd say I'm not always serious. It's funny because people who watch me on my channel, they just assume that I'm probably like joking around and messing around the whole time. Because on the channel, I'm always pretty.
Nah, not on the team. No, I remember I've told some of the players some of the stories about you, and they're like, "Coach Javi," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's him. He did that." And they're like,
"Do they think I'm always serious?"
Yeah.
I see. That's a funny thing because I always assume that for the most part, if we're not training, if we're not playing, I'm like always joking around. Like I like to go into the players' lounge and play ping pong and beat everyone in ping pong.
I don't think the players see that.
I think you know what, Moy.
I don't think the players see that.
So, I told. What would you say? What would you describe me as? Like personality wise. Like how would you say I am?
I don't know. When you're in your DCFC staff uniform, you're not Coach Javi from YouTube. Coach Javi from YouTube likes to joke around, but Javi from DCFC is more like,
well,
no laughing, dribble around the cones.
Let the record show here that in my personal philosophy is like when we start training and we start playing, like you have to be focused and you have to be serious, especially because we're competing at such a high level that like there's times to joke around and mess around, but like I get focused.
That is 100% true. But even away games when we have the day off and we get to explore, you're still like
Really? You think so?
Yeah.
I always thought I was good at. I always thought I was good at like separating those two.
Nah.
And well, but the thing is here though. Let me try to defend myself here. Is I'm not mad. It's not like I'm mad or anything like that, or I'm just like in a bad mood. It's because
He's
I'm
just
like
disappointed.
I'm just serious. No, because last year most of the games. I mean, we won all of our away games, so that was the best part about the away games is that when you go to Cali, if you lose a game, and you're in Cali, like it's not the same feeling as if you win the game, because then you're like you're having a good time. You just got the 3 points. You can go explore the next day. But I don't know.
In away games, we would always make plans to go out, and then Javi would be like, "No, I don't want to go out. No, I don't want to go out.
What are you talking about?
I don't want to go
out. I would go out explore.
Yeah,
having a good time.
He would do it, but we'd have to win. If we lose, he like sits in bed and watches the TV. But like not even a random. I mean, not even like a good channel. It's like just the hotel channel, the one that says like "Welcome to your room," and he's like,
"Yeah, but we always won, so that never really happened. We always won last year, so that was good. It was a good season." Speaking about the players, though. About the players, so I know some of them ask for certain stuff. What do they usually ask for? Just like the normal stuff.
I mean, they always try to ask for like compression shirts or shorts, but we don't have those for the team. Cut socks. It's
that's the modern trend.
Yeah, they ask for cut socks. Some are like very particular in how they want the cut socks. Like they can't have any of like the different colors showing. They have to be like cut at a certain. Yeah, so it's.
But the whole point about the cut socks was, well, at least this is what I believe.
We had this whole discussion yesterday.
We had this whole discussion yesterday. Is the whole point of the cut socks is that you wear the team socks, you cut them by the ankles, and then you wear these new grip socks, which have just come out in the recent years. Not recent years, but they've been out for a while. But in the modern era, I would say, and they wear them because they provide grip or whatever, and you use those up to your ankles, and then you put your team sock over it. So now everybody and that's it's kind of weird because then does that not like ruin the socks? Because now you have to now you got a bunch of cut socks lying around everywhere. Yeah. So that's the trend. But the thing is, even the players who cut the socks nowadays, most of them don't even have the grip socks.
They don't have grip socks.
They just wear like regular socks, and I think they just think it looks cool.
Yes, some of them do it for the look. Some of them do it because they like how a certain sock feels. If they have a certain sock for games, they'll wear those, and it like kind of makes a little bit more sense than the look. But in reality, the people started cutting the socks for the grip socks, which I think only 2 or 3 people had grip socks during the season.
Yeah.
And half the team would probably cut the socks.
But now it's not a bad thing to want to look cool or whatever, because if it makes you play better, if it makes you feel mentally better, then you should go and do it. Because a lot of players do some weird stuff. Everybody has some weird rituals and habits the day of the games or whatever. So if it's one of those things, part of their habits or part of their rituals, then you know.
I mean, we had one guy on the team that would eat had to have, I think just a pizza the day before a game.
Really?
Every day, before every game.
Like a whole pizza or a slice of pizza?
It could be a slice of pizza.
All right.
But usually.
I'm going to find out who that is, because these are high-level athletes having pizza the day before.
Yeah.
No. Everybody's got their habits. Like I said, if it makes them play better, then most of the time you have to kind of let it go, even if it is eating a pizza the day before.
Yeah.
Now, if they're having issues, if they're having problems during the game or whatever, and like they weren't playing well, then obviously we'd look at their eating habits. But yeah, everybody's got their things. Now, what else do they ask for? I mean, besides the socks? Besides the cut socks?
Honestly, not much.
No?
Yeah. I think the team...
The shin guards thing is kind of funny. Now, everybody's got... Like, they don't ask for shin guards, but the size of the shin guards that the players wear nowadays is like...
I mean, the shin guards are used to protect your shins.
Right.
It says it in the name. But these guys are wearing either these paper-thin shin guards or some like small shin guards. Like we had a guy using shin guards this big.
Yeah, they're literally, they go to like Target or Walmart or whatever, and they find like the youth sports, like the smallest shin guards, the ones that are made for like the babies.
Yeah.
And then they just use those to get away with it.
They even take it the next step. and cut out the foam on them, so it's just the plastic, so it's even thinner.
I don't get that.
Because they want it to be like nothing.
Right, but I
Exactly.
mean, I get it because some of these guys like don't want to wear shin guards at all.
Yeah.
So that's their way of getting around it is just the absolute minimal. But
yeah.
it's
We've had a player in the past that like won't wear shin guards.
didn't wear shin guards until he got caught.
Yeah.
And players do that all over the place.
Yeah.
It's not just here, but yeah, that's just the thing. I mean, I used to always wear regular size shin guards because I'd get kicked a lot. But some players have been doing it for a long time, and
even when I play recreational soccer, I still wear shin guards.
Yeah.
I can't trust these people.
Yeah. So it's weird the size of the shin guards.
Yeah.
Besides that, what is the weirdest thing that they've asked for? Or anything that's weird that they've asked for?
Can't really think of anything.
Salt.
Oh, the salt. Yes. Salt. Yeah. We had a player who, before every game, wanted a little bit of salt because I guess it would help with cramps or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the first 2 games, I didn't have any salt. Third game, I finally got some salt for him, and then he left.
Yeah.
So I have
You have a bunch of salt.
2 bags of salt
You have
in my office.
You have a pound of salt just laying in your office there.
Yeah.
And then most of the players like coffee. Like when we go on team walks, when we're in away games and we go on like team walks the morning of, or sometimes when we go into the
It's crazy how
into
much
the team
coffee,
room. Yeah,
how much coffee they drink.
we always have to have coffee ready for the players.
Even at the field house, we will go through, I want to say like 4 pots in the morning, and then another 2 or 3 when we get back for lunch. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
I think if I have coffee, I have 1 cup, and I'm like, all right, I'm good for the day.
yeah. There's players who have 5 or 6 cups a day sometimes.
Yeah,
That's just
that's too much.
yeah, it's too much. But I don't know. It's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah.
The one thing that that we haven't seen yet, that I haven't seen yet, that I've seen everywhere, besides here, pretty much, especially at, the higher levels, is that tea, the one that the South Americans drink.
Yeah.
Is
It's
it
like
mate?
mate.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of like herbs, and then they like put the boiling water in there, and then just drink it.
But that one's also like a ritual because I see players have their own little container that's customized.
It's customized.
That's where they put the water in.
Everything is customized.
Mm-hmm.
The cup they drink it from, the cup that contains the water, because one thing it has like the cup where they drink it from has just the herbs, but then the other one, the other cup has the water that you pour in. You only pour like a certain amount of water at a time,
Mm-hmm.
and then even the straw that they drink it from it's all customized.
Yeah. That's a thing that I've seen in like the documentaries of pro teams. I've seen it in pictures on Instagram of players. That's just it's like a South American thing for the most part. Yeah.
It's supposed to give you like some like energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The herbs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what would you say is the best part about being Kitman?
I think getting to travel with the team, always being with the team. Just hanging out with the team. It's a lot of fun. A lot of good memories, great friendships that you create over the past, and it's a lot of fun. And then I make connections with other teams.
Kitman friends.
Yeah.
Kitman friends.
So if we play like a big team, I usually talk to the equipment manager a lot, and at the end,
Get some free gear.
Get some free gear.
Get a bunch of free gear, not just a little bit of free gear. A bunch of free gear. Especially from the big teams. When we played Atlas, and when we played the New York Cosmos.
So I'm hearing a lot of jealousy.
I'm just saying. I don't know.
It's
I don't
you
know.
a little salty?
No.
Do you want a t-shirt?
No.
Will that fix it?
The other cool thing I think is like being in charge of all the apparel because it's so nice when you get like a fresh new pair of warm-up tops or like shorts or whatever is all this. When you see the new gear coming in on like the beginning of the preseason or whatever, it's so nice to see it, especially when we get our initials on it.
Yeah.
It's nice to see it with your initials. So,
really cool.
so you're there when the big shipment arrives and it's like all in boxes and that's pretty cool. And then you get to see all the uniforms. You get to see them before everybody else gets to see them, all the new kits. I'm a big fan of your job, Moy. You know this already. I've told you this a million times. You know this. One day,
Coach Javi wants to take my job.
One day I will take your job and I will be the kit man. and I will be in
You have
charge
to
of everything.
change it from Coach Javi
And
to
I will design
Kid
my
Javi.
own. I will design my own training tops,
Yeah?
jerseys.
Oh,
I'm gonna
my.
design everything. I'm gonna design everything.
This guy thinks my job is easy.
I don't think your job is easy, but I like your job. I always go on YouTube and I like find Kitman videos of like pro teams, and then I share the link with Moy. Sometimes I don't even share the link with you. Sometimes I just watch it on my own. I'm like, this is cool, and then I tell you about it.
And then
but
on
I
weight
know-
trips, he's like, Moy, this team does this for away games. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. They also have millions of dollars.
yeah, the big clubs. What is your biggest pet peeve? Because you talked about like what you like about being a Kitman. What's a pet peeve?
I feel like I have a couple. I just can't think of them. One of them for sure is when they throw their clothes into the bin. It's always inside out. Yeah.
See, they don't realize that it takes a long time
Yeah.
for you to go individually and have to flip it back, right?
Yeah. And sometimes when it's inside out, it doesn't clean the best. Sometimes it's good for the like the screen print stuff,
Right.
so it won't peel as easy, but it just won't clean as like better. Like some stains will still be there, and then afterwards having to turn everything the right way, and it's pain sometimes.
Yeah. The other thing, and I've tried to help you out with this a
Yeah.
little bit, was after the games in the locker room, players will just start throwing everything into one pile,
Yeah.
and then you eventually have to sort it. So we try to get the players to put,
Yeah.
the training tops in one pile, the jerseys in another pile, everything that's red in one, everything that's blue in the other, or whatever.
I mean, what I've done is before the team walks in at the end of the game, start having 3 different piles for like whatever I need.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I have used clean items to start those piles. Things that I have like extra. If I have extra jerseys or shorts, I throw it in the piles just so like they can see and continue. But
Yeah.
there's always people that just throw it.
Do we go through a lot of stuff as far as do we go like towels and training gear? Do you ever run out of that stuff because they just get used so much, or players end up taking them on accident or whatever?
Towels for sure. I think I started the 2019 season with 40, and I realized it wasn't enough, so we went up to like 60. At some point, I think I was at like 75 or 80, but I just did inventory last week of towels, and I have 55.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad, but
I was thinking you were about to say like 12.
I mean, I still would like. I would like more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you go through a lot of gear.
Yeah, especially socks. We rip through a lot of socks. It's normal to go through some socks. Obviously, if the players cut them, that saves the bottom, because usually it's what rips the first. It's the bottom, like where their heel is or where their toe is. That's what rips.
Mm-hmm.
But the cut ones, I just like keep them. Shorts. If we're wearing white shorts, I go through them fast because some of them will stain if you slide or something. If you get them dirty,
Right.
those will stain and for some reason won't come out. The jerseys will stain as well, but it will come out.
Yeah. On a different note, different subject here. You get to see professional athletes on a daily basis do their thing, right? You played soccer up until you played college, or you played high school.
I played 2 years of club level
In college.
Yeah.
But you played all through high school.
Yeah.
So and your family's a soccer family. You're familiar with the game. You jump in with the training session sometimes with us on the off season. How far away do you think you are from the level?
Miles away.
Because I know a lot of young kids think that they're going to be professional soccer players, and maybe they will one day. But
yeah.
I don't think people realize the difference between someone who's been playing soccer for a long time and at a recreational level, or even in high school, even college club,
Yeah.
and an actual professional soccer player.
Yeah.
How far
it's
away do you think the level is?
I mean, my stamina is not there. I don't have the speed. When I get the ball, like I can look up, but these guys can just like look up the whole time with the ball on their feet and know exactly where it is. Like I have to keep like constantly like looking down.
Right.
And by the time I look back up, I have like 2 players on me.
Yeah.
I know a couple of weeks ago we were doing a passing drill, and I could not get it.
It was a very basic passing drill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think people realize that. Especially, it's not just the ability level, but it's also when you know you're surrounded by players who are
Yeah.
much better. It puts a lot of pressure on you.
It does. Yeah.
And then when you get the ball, you're almost like panicking.
Yeah.
Now, we were just doing a passing drill, and I know you were struggling a little bit. And I was telling you to just calm down, just relax, just focus on the next one. But just imagine that in a game where instead of just the ball being passed to you, now there's defenders actually trying to take the ball away from you. That's the biggest difference I think I noticed is that the elite level footballers, when they get the ball, they already have an idea of what they want to do with it, or they already know what they want to do with it, but they're so calm. Mm-hmm. They're so calm. But when you put someone like you in there, someone who hasn't played at that level, the moment they get the ball, you guys just panic. Because you're like, oh, there's a million people running at me. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So,
yeah,
that's and that's like I said, a lot of kids think that they want to be professional athletes and professional soccer players, but there's levels to this. Yeah. There's a lot of levels. But you've jumped in sometimes, and I think it's because it's also you're a little bit more comfortable because you know the guys, they're your friends. Yeah. So if you were just like a trialist and you were at this level, you would probably be
tough. Yeah, it's tough. You get nervous, especially if you don't know anybody.
Right.
I know we've had players in the past that like on the field they're super aggressive, but then off the field they're like nice, and they don't mean anything that happens on the field. Like
yeah. There's been kids who have come and realized I'm not at this level. I thought I was at this level, but I'm not at this level. And then it's like, all right, thank you for the opportunity, but I know I even know I'm not coming back. So, but it's easier with you because, I mean, not only that, but your personality as well. It's a little bit more easygoing, and like you and me have a good friendship. So if I'm yelling at you, it's not because I'm like actually mad. It's because I'm like, come on, boy, get it together. You know what I mean? But
I mean, there was one game where I did get yelled at.
There was one.
2 seconds later.
Should we go over that story real quick? Let's go over that story real quick. So here's the story. We're at a game, right? We're not going to release too much of the details, but we're at a game, and obviously we're sitting, like on the bench. Kitman Moises is right there next to me in the gaff.
Yeah. Well, you guys were standing at this point because you guys were a little bit ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so we were standing. It was closer to the end of the game. I would say there was about 12 to 15 minutes left.
Something like that.
Right? So close to the end of the game. It's a very, very tough game, and we're winning 2-1. 2-0.
1-0.
1-0?
1-0.
All right. You know the details more than
1-0.
I do. Regardless, we're
Corner
winning by
kick.
1. We're winning by 1.
One guy passes it to the other header.
Oh, so you have a photographic memory now at this point. All right, so did I scream at you that bad that you remembered exactly all the details from that?
I remember everything. I remember everything. So I got up. Hold on. There's a foul, and the ball gets kicked towards our bench. We're winning 1-0.
I'll let you tell your version of the story first.
Okay. So there's a foul, and it's kind of on our side of the field. We're winning 1-0. Ball gets kicked towards us. I was already getting up to give somebody a water bottle when the ball gets kicked like right at me. So I quickly just get the ball. I look up, and I see one of the players start to do a run down the sideline. And I was like, oh, they're going for a quick play. So I threw it back in. And as I'm throwing it back in, I'm getting yelled at. And I look over, and it's Javi, and he's like, what are you doing? Stop that. Sit down. So I sat down, and I was like quiet for like 2 minutes. And then he like turns around, gives me a hug, and he's like, I'm so sorry.
So, there's a reason. So that's your version of the story, obviously. Yeah. I totally understand your version of the story. You're not a coach, and I understand. Now I'm going to give you the coach's perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's a very, very tough game. A game that is going to dictate whether we're probably going to win the season or not, whether we're probably going to win the championship. We're up by 1 goal, as you stated. We're up by 1 goal. And at this point, there's, like 10 minutes left. And the other team has got more possession of the ball. Mm-hmm. We're doing all right, but we're trying to hold on.
Yeah.
And we're away. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we don't have like home field advantage. There's a foul, and the ball gets kicked out of bounds. Right? Now, what do you do in this situation? When you're up by 1, playing away, the other team has more possession, you're trying to hold on in the last few minutes, you let it go. Yeah. You let that ball roll as far away. Yeah,
it's true. You waste time. Yeah.
You let the ball roll as far away as possible, and then you let the ball boys do their job. The thing what happened was, Moy, for some reason, as the ball goes out, it comes right in between you and me.
Yeah.
It came like right in between you and me. So if I wanted to grab it and kick it back, I could have grabbed it and kicked it back. and it goes between you and I left it and I let it go. And you run like sprinting like as if we're down 1-0.
There was no sprint. There was no
Sprinting,
sprint. I was already getting up.
Grabs the ball and throws it back on the field. So naturally, I'm like, so I turn around, and obviously we're in the middle of a game where I'm like tunnel vision right now. I'm focused on this game because we have to win. And I remember just turning around, and there may have been a curse word or two. I will admit this. There may have been a curse word or two, but I turned around and I was like, "What the are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why would you pass a soccer ball back when we're trying to waste a little bit of time here?" And I remember your face. I remember your face was like eyes wide open, like, oh my God, what did I just do? Like,
I mean, I've been yelled at. I've been yelled at before by you, but never that hard.
Never like that, because it was in the heat of the moment. That's why it was in the heat of the moment. That's why I yelled at you. But then you sat back down, and you were literally like sat back down like a little kid who just got yelled at like this. And I turned around back to the game, and it wasn't even 2 minutes. I think it was like 15 seconds.
No,
it was like 10, 15 seconds.
A while I sat there
That's
quietly.
what I do remember, because as soon as that happened, I realized that, like, obviously you didn't know exactly what you were doing, and then you explained it to me later as why you passed the ball back. So I turned around, and I'm telling you, it was 10, 15 seconds. I realized it pretty quick. I turned around, and I gave you a hug, and I was like, "I'm sorry, Mo. I didn't mean to yell at you. I didn't mean to scream at you." So at least I apologized.
Yeah.
At least I apologized. And you saw it from my perspective as well as to why I had to.
I mean, in my defense, I saw a player running down the sideline as soon as they were like setting up. He ran down the sideline.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, he's going for a quick play. We can make it 2-0 right now."
No. But the guy who got fouled was still on the ground, because he knew, like, oh, I should probably, take a little bit of time, relax, break down the flow of the game.
Yep.
So, but I saw it from your perspective, but I mean, that's why you saw it from mine as well.
Yeah.
And it was just obviously one of those really, really intense games at that level. I was really, really focused. So I kind of let loose on you a little bit. But then like I said, 10, 15 seconds, I apologized. I gave you a hug. I told you I was sorry. So, and you were still like a little kid. You were still scared. But that's the story.
After that day, I've never touched the soccer ball again.
That's the story. And Moy still has not come back from that. But you and I, for the most part, we have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah.
So it all works out. And for the most part, if I'm yelling at you, it's with a little bit of banter. I'm never really 100% serious, just with a little bit of banter.
Can't take him serious.
You just said earlier in this podcast that I was like super serious, and the players think I could never joke around and all.
No,
this.
the players think you're serious.
We're gonna get one of the players on the podcast.
Players think you're serious. This guy.
So being with a professional club, working with professional coaches, professional athletes, what's something that you've learned?
I don't know. I feel like I've learned a lot. For example, like at the tryouts this year, I kind of knew more what coach would be looking for, what you guys look at. Mm-hmm. I know in the past, like, for some reason, the men's tryouts, it's always like, if you're playing defense, you get the ball, you run it up all the way, trying to do as many cool moves as you can, get up to the box and shoot. If you're a midfielder, you get the ball, you do the same. Forward, you do the same. Everything. You never, the guys never pass. Mm-hmm. And I was always like, oh, that guy looks good. He just took on like 5-6 people, did a couple fancy moves, shot the ball. But like this year, I was like, all right, that's not going to cut it. We need someone who knows how to look up, how to pass, who's not always doing these fancy moves. It was kind of like easier to see who was better and who was not. In the past, I've been like, oh, that guy's good. And then everybody's like, no, he sucked. And I'm like, oh, all right. This year, after we went over like the try list, like I kind of felt like I had a majority of like the same people that I picked. You guys also picked. So I was like, all right, I'm doing a little bit better. Yeah.
It lets you see the game from a different perspective, from a coach's perspective.
Yeah.
And I think you realize that even at the highest levels, the game is really simple.
Yeah.
It's not about how fancy you are, how many people you can dribble, but it's about who's the smartest player, who makes the best decisions, and who pretty much never loses the ball or doesn't lose the ball as often as other players. And we'll talk about that in another podcast, tryouts, and what you should be doing at tryouts. But I agree, it's keeping it simple, showing a lot of maturity, showing a lot of experience, and obviously doing all the technical stuff right. It's honestly that simple. All right, Moy, last question. Your ambitions here.
All right.
Where do you see your career going? What do you see yourself doing? Where do you think this is taking you?
Obviously, I love my job.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I've always dreamt of. Like, I always wanted to be with a soccer team, working with a soccer team. Even when I started college and I was doing like finance, I was like, I can be an accountant for a soccer player or for a team. And that was always my goal, like being with the team. And so like I finally made it. I'm here. I absolutely love it. And I think this is the right path for me, like being an equipment manager, because everything that I do now, it's fun. I enjoy it. Obviously, there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, and like I can take it all. And I think for now, I think I'm gonna be here for a while. And once my resume grows a little bit more, I might have to move on. But I know like Detroit City FC has gotten bigger and bigger every year. So I think maybe by the time that I need to move up, DCFC will move up as well. So
Right.
I could just stay with it. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm with you on that. I think DCFC is growing. I mean, in the time that I've been here, it's grown tremendously. So,
Yeah.
all right, Moy. Well, I appreciate you being on the podcast. I'm sure the listeners and the people watching the 5 people watching this podcast will appreciate you as well.
Georgie, your parents,
My parents, your parents now, Martha.
We got up to 6 people.
We're up to 6. All right. Well, appreciate you guys tuning in. Catch us on the next episode. Hopefully pretty soon. I'm going to try and get some of the players in here. And obviously we're going to invite Moy back and probably Georgie back often to talk about, different topics. Doesn't have to be related to just being a Kitman, but anything soccer related. And that's pretty much it for this one.
All right.
Thanks, Moy.
And adios, muchachos.
Don't take my line. I didn't let you. I didn't ask you to do that this time. All right.